with TCG. You're here for our webinar on how to win with the next gen phone system. And I'm live actually from vacation, believe it or not, because this was a very, very important webinar for me and to get out there and get this information out to everyone. So I want to welcome our guests today. We've got Evan Kahn and John Brenton from Crescendo. Guys, come on in. If you can take your mute off and put your video on, that would be great. So John Brenton is the Chief Revenue Officer for Crescendo, and Evan Kahn is Channel Manager for Crescendo. And we've got a phenomenal webinar for you today. So just some things that you should know. Number one, we're streaming live to a Facebook group as well as YouTube right now. So if you're there, thank you very much. We're also streaming live to people who've logged into the webinar stream. And just some things to understand. You're all muted, so we don't hear your dogs and your babies and the landscapers, all that good stuff. And then also there's a chat window here, so you can privately chat with us and ask questions as you need. We love questions, and if you don't ask questions, it means that you're either sleeping or you walked away from your computer, neither of which is a great thing. So stick with us. You're going to get a lot of great information here. Ask your questions, and do me a favor, don't make me ask the questions. That's so dumb, you know. But anyway, we're going to go through 6 different ways you can win with the next gen phone system. And you know, with that, let's go ahead and just get started here, John and Evan. You know, first of all, let's talk a little bit about what is a next gen phone system. Like, what does this concept even mean? Love to hear it.
Yeah, in morning, everybody, or good afternoon, wherever you're at. I'll take that one first. And I laughed, Ira, because you said that about the landscapers and the babies and the dogs. And I was doing a webinar with somebody a couple of weeks ago, and guess what? Like 5 minutes before we're done, my landscaper shows up and you know, he's got a blower outside the window. So it happens, but
it could be worse. I had a webinar last week. I'm not going to say what platform it was, but it wasn't this one and it wasn't yours. It was a different platform. And when the guy got on the webinar with me, no kidding, he was wearing no shirt. and I was like, dude, really? Like, I just wanted to talk to you about business. But anyway, with that, let's talk about what a next-gen phone system is.
Sure. So, you know, we think about the evolution of telecommunication systems. It used to be most companies had, you know, a server room, a demarcation point, somewhere in their office. They had a phone system that was there in the office that handled the transfer of calls internally to the right people, had some basic capabilities, interfaced with the public telephone network. Now with our next gen phone systems, which are primarily software as a service or cloud delivered, we're able to take and make employees, wherever they are, whatever type of device they're connecting on, part of that community that has become what the company phone system was before. So the ability to interact and connect with other employees, customers, and vendors that you work with, people outside of the organization. But the great part of that enablement of this move into software as a service is that basic phone communication, verbal, you know, black phones conversation has really moved to delivering so many different types of features and capabilities on top of that we've, you know, no matter what the media people are choosing to communicate through, what their preferred method is, or, you know, what they're trying to accomplish, we're able to integrate, interact, and otherwise help them leverage, you know, all of the great capabilities that are available today. And that's what I like about the question, the way you set it up, is next generation. This is constantly evolving, and with a SaaS or next gen phone system, you know, what happens is you also get regular update software releases that are delivering new capabilities to customers in a way that you know, static set traditional deployment of a phone system as we used to know it was not able to do. I don't know, Evan, do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, I just would add that, you know, a lot of the updates that we do actually come from suggestions from our customers. So we're very responsive in that manner as well.
You know, I think.
Yeah, go ahead, Ira.
No, go ahead, John.
I was just going to say the other thing that we've seen, and I think we'll talk about it a little bit today, is the integration also then of how companies support their customers is so much tighter in a next generation phone system to really help you deliver an exceptional customer experience. And we know from surveys, if you look at consumers, 35 and under, I saw a survey recently, 77% of consumers 35 and under said their experience with the brand was more important than the product that they were actually purchasing. And so one of the things that I just wanted to add with the next gen phone system conversation is that we really help customers up their game in their experience with the brand by delivering a different type of customer experience than they could before.
I think that's a killer topic or comment, because here's the deal, everybody. The world we live in is always changing, right? I mean, if you even compare like pre-COVID, right? Think about how much COVID has changed the world we live in. And the thing is, technology in many cases hasn't kept up with the change in what people's expectations. So like, think about it. There's a lot of companies out there still using old school analog telephone systems. There's millions of them out there, millions of people. And that's the same technology that Alexander Graham Bell pretty much invented.
Right.
100 years, 110 years, whatever. I don't know what the number is. It's a lot of years. So we've become, like it or not, the world has become a fast food society, right? People expect a lot in a quick amount of time. And I think if you take anything away from this, as we go through all these reasons, I think the biggest reason, in my opinion, is always thinking about the customer experience. John, you said those words.
Right.
And I'm going to steal those words, because the customer experience is everything. People don't think about it, but it really is. Let me give you an example. I'm on this road trip, right? And I'm road tripping right now, across the US. And there have been so many instances where we've went into a restaurant or went in to go buy something at CVS, whatever. And almost every single time the experience has been awful, right? So people think about that. And they think about that when they call into your business or your customer's business if you're a partner, right? And they think about how easy, how efficient was it for me to get to the right person in your business to ensure they can help me with what I need. And that maybe it's a customer service request, maybe it's they want to buy something from you. That's the worst, is when a customer calls in because they want to buy something from a company, and it's an awful experience trying to get to somebody. So I want everybody who's listening to this call to think about the customer experience. And is your customer experience incredible, incredibly good, or incredibly bad today? Next gen phone systems can certainly take it to the next level, to incredibly good. So let's talk about tip number one on how to win. And this all has to do with ensuring flexibility for growth in a business. John, Evan, let's talk about that.
Yeah, Evan, you want to take that one first?
Yeah, sure. I guess the great thing about our next gen telephone system is that it can scale very easily because it's in the cloud. You can add phones, delete phones, and really just grow outside of outside of the walls, the four walls that you started in. You can grow into multiple locations and work from home.
Yeah, so expanding on that, if you look at it, I mean, you think about how companies hire employees today, onboard employees. I can tell you we've had a nice growth curve at our organization. So we're regularly adding new employees. And, you even think about that employee's first day. A lot of times people used to be, you'd have people come in, we'd be in a training and an onboarding, and everybody'd be in person. Companies today are adding employees and growing with them maybe never coming into one of your facilities. So if you think about the capability of being able to, basically go into an administrative portal, create a user, create a new employee, assign certain rights to them, just like IT deploys other software to them, just like they deploy Microsoft Office or whatever else, your CRM, whatever applications they may be able to use, and send them basically a login where they can log in and have access to all your communications tools and have that pre-configured for them based on certain configurations. So, you think of the one aspect of growth, Ira, is the growth of employees, adding new headcount that I just described. Another aspect of growth is just capitalizing on new business opportunities. I mean, companies, to continue to be successful, you've got to transform your business. And that's being able to quickly adapt. Maybe it's a new line of business, maybe it's an acquisition, or some other area of growth that you didn't otherwise have. So one of the benefits of a next generation communications platform is really the ability to think of a business concept in the morning and be able to program a way for customers to communicate to you about it later that day, and the ability to handle those conversations. And then one thing is that the third thing is, how do companies kind of deal with growing pains? So you mentioned the experiences you had on the road and being able to get satisfactory service. I think a lot of companies, they think of, we have a few people in customer service, or they have maybe a small call center group. My experience has found that a lot of times, especially in growth areas of a business, the expert that customers need to talk to may not be an agent that's in that call center, or somebody who's taking those inbound calls from customers. So one of the real benefits also, as businesses grow and release new initiatives with a next generation communications platform, is the ability to find the expert within the organization, maybe through SMS or group chat or other types of messaging, connect customers with that expert and be able to satisfy, whatever their need is, so you can give a better customer experience. So I think, if you kind of look at everything from adding new employees, going into new lines of business, and being able to expand and meet the needs of customers that have different levels of satisfaction requirements than they used to, in many cases, those are all ways that a next gen phone system helps a company. Where in that past, when we talked about, you talked about Alexander Graham Bell, and really what the PBX, or the key system, the traditional phone system, looked like for so many years. A company would have to literally get a guy to come out in a truck to do something, to make changes in the configuration or whatever, or have a technical expert remote in and be able to change the configuration and do things of that nature with a traditional phone system. One of the things that I love about our platform, and I know we're really not pitching product today, but any good next gen phone system, you push the power to that company administrator or IT organization for them to be able to manage their own platform, their own user experience, make these changes, do it themselves, and basically log in. Where I had an experience a couple of years ago with an organization that was hosting a big, one of the biggest events for it was a professional sports team for their vertical, and having them tell me about how with their traditional system, it used to take them like an hour each to add these extensions that they needed to do to be able to support the media and the folks that came in for that event. And with a cloud platform, a cloud phone system, they were able to do that in less than a minute each. And so you really think about that massive productivity improvement of something that you used to have a guy with very specific skills and availability of time to be able to take a fair amount of time to accomplish these tasks. And now you can self-administer, do that yourself, and do it in our platform. You can add a new user, give them a device, and give them all the rights and everything they need, in less than a minute.
Yeah, that's incredible. And I'll give you a little story for everybody. So I about 2 weeks ago, I hooked up a line of service with Crescendo, and because I wanted to see, on my own, like how the experience was. It was phenomenal. Like I'm not a guy who uses a phone on my desk. I use my smartphone, soft phones, what software-based phones, whatever I can use. I don't need a phone on my desk anymore. And I'm not kidding you. The process was so simple. Like I was thinking in the concept of businesses that are growing. A lot of times businesses will come to me and say, "Hey, listen, we just hired 5 new employees. We need to get 5 lines of service." In the old days, that might have taken weeks. Now it could take minutes, right? And
Right.
in many cases, the customer has the ability, if they want, to do it on their own,
Right.
which is fantastic. So when I got this line of service lit up, I'm not kidding you. I gave these guys my information. 15 minutes later, I got an email. I opened the email, I followed their instructions, and literally 5 minutes after they had sent me the email, I was up and running. And I got and I was adding my own auto attendants, and I was adding my own conference bridge. I needed no training whatsoever. And I think that's the thing to understand is that as businesses grow, that's what they want. They want ease of getting their employees up and running. They want ease of adding features. They don't want to have to call somebody. They don't want to have to wait weeks to do it. Again, we're a fast food society. Like it or not, that's where we're at. So let's talk about topic number 2 is this concept of modernizing infrastructure. Guys, let's talk to that.
Yeah, so I'll take that one first because I think there is a point of awareness that a lot of people don't know, but many of your traditional communications platforms, they run on analog service, what we call 1FBs, a flat business line, and these types of services. And a lot of this one, I don't know what it is, but it snuck up on a lot of people. Many people don't know that the FCC used to, that was a highly regulated part of the business. And there were SLAs and requirements to basically keep that plain old telephone service, that copper infrastructure available in service to deliver to businesses. And a couple years ago, they passed an order that actually goes into effect this August, where the FCC is removing their oversight from copper services or analog phone services. So what that means, and we've actually had several customers that have come to us already because of this, is that basically something that was regulated like a utility that you had to have, in the future, there's no requirement that it's available. So there are companies that haven't upgraded to a next generation phone system where their providers coming to them and they're doing a couple things. One is they're just telling them, hey, by September 1st, we're decommissioning this service. We're basically shutting it off. So think about shutting off the electricity or shutting off the water. We're shutting it off. You need to make other plans and migrate off of it. Or what they're doing is, because they're no longer regulated, they're kind of silently, significantly increasing the costs of those services. So, something that used to be like $25 a line, I've had partners telling me they're seeing bills for $100, $125, $250 a line in some cases because there's no oversight anymore. So, the public infrastructure around the organization, if you haven't moved to a next gen phone system, there's no guarantee that it's going to be there in the future. And I think a lot of people don't realize that. So that's one aspect of modernization, is just outdated technology. You have to do it. And you go, yeah, that even includes if you were using those services for your alarm lines, your fax lines, and other things. There's no requirement that a service provider still delivers those to you anymore. And there's a lot of aging plant and infrastructure that people don't. If I'm the telco carrier, I'm not going to upgrade that. I'm not going to modernize it. I'm going to shut it down, because everything today is about broadband, fiber builds, things like that. So that's one aspect of modernization, is the have to. I would say another aspect of modernization is the want to. Ira, you talked about how easy it was to set up new service. One thing for the modernization is we've learned is, you mentioned you don't use a desk phone anymore. There are workers that love the traditional black phone sitting on the desk, and we still ship a lot of those every month. However, how great is it for a new employee to be able to say, go to the Google Play Store or the Apple Store, download this application, scan this QR code, or put in these credentials, and that's your business phone system on the mobile device, which is the primary device of choice for most people today, or how I often use our platform, which is in my Chrome browser, logged in at my desk, because I tend to spend a lot of my day in front of a computer. So, to be able to give not employees not only just a choice, but the ability to use any of those methods to connect and communicate that they prefer. And that allows you to do things like when people went home for COVID, a lot of companies, because they didn't have these technologies, they had employees working off their cell phones. Well, the next thing is they're using their personal cell phone number, as opposed to a business number. And do I want all my clients to have my personal cell phone number and kind of get past the work-life boundaries of time that I'm available and things like that? So what we do is we help companies modernize their infrastructure, is we move them to the device of choice, and we give their employees the ability, if you're on your mobile device, you can use your business number, use your business identity, keep that separated from your personal life and your personal contacts, and kind of still maintain the partitioning between the parts of your life that, like you're on a road trip, Ira, and I know that you're one of those guys that you're always on. So you're not like people that want to be able to say, I'm only going to, take my business calls or do this within a certain time, or companies for security reasons that just don't want their employees' cell phone numbers to be used with their customers. So we give them the ability to modernize and maintain their business identity on the device of their choice, working from wherever they want. So, those are two really good reasons or examples of what that modernization really means.
Yeah, and as Amy, I see Amy in the list here. She knows I'm always on, always. I answer if I'm up, I'm answering, even if I'm on the moon somewhere. But as long as I have good Wi-Fi up there. So a couple things about modernizing the infrastructure that I want to talk about. One of which is a feature I use in your system, which made my head explode because it was so good, because it's a problem over the last 15 years I've had, and every single customer I've talked to has had, that you guys have fixed. And I think it's important that we talk about it. So one of the big things customers hate is setting up their voicemail box, setting up music on hold greetings, and because here's the deal. There's multiple ways of doing it. In the old world, which is the analog phone system world, it's a pain. Total pain. You have to have a voicemail server and all this stuff. In the new world, which is like a standard voice over IP or a UCAS company, you still have to record your greeting. And it's a pain because you have to, a lot of times you have to, like for music on hold, you have to record a greeting. Then you have to use conversion software to convert it to a specific format so you can upload it to the system. Customers hate it. They hate it because they don't have that software. When they get it, they don't understand how to use it. It's a pain. So as I was going through your guys' system the other day, you guys have fixed it. You guys basically allow a customer, if they want to do a voicemail greeting or music on hold, messaging on hold, they can literally type in what they want it to say. There's like 15 different voices that they can use. Everything from UK voices to Ireland to US, guys, girls, you name it. And then the artificial intelligence reads it and it sounds really good. Like some are better than others, but most of them are really good. That's solving problems for customers and modernizing how you do things is super critical.
Right.
And that's one example of something new that I saw that your competitors don't have. They're still doing it the old school way. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah, thanks, Ira. That is one nice plus that a lot of people like, because everybody hates the way they sound on their own greeting, and they hate recording their greeting. So we do give you a lot of choices from voices, dialects, languages, in some cases, things like that. But if you do have the DJ Dazzle professional audio that you've done before, you can upload that and use that as your greeting. Upload the things for music on hold, or you can kind of record it the old-fashioned way. But every user has the choice of what they prefer, which is what employees prefer today, right?
Yeah. And by the way, guys, if you need professional music on hold, I've got a vendor who does that, where every month they will create new professional music on hold for you and will upload it to your system, and you'll have a whole new set of messaging. Most customers don't understand that you should be using music on hold not just to fill time. You should be using it for sales and marketing.
Right.
Almost every customer misses that. We did have a question here on how reliable is a next-gen phone system. If you guys can maybe talk to that, because modernizing has to do with modernizing on the customer end, but being modern on your end too, with data centers and stuff like that. So let's talk a little bit about how reliable next-gen is.
Evan, you want to take that first?
Yeah, sure. Going to the cloud, you still have to rely on the data centers. What our approach has been, we've got 3 geo-redundant data centers around the United States. We've got 2 tier 5s and 1 tier 4, and they're running active all the time.
Hey, explain what tier 5 and tier 4 are, because people may not know.
Yeah, sure. Tier 5 is super secure, military grade infrastructure inside and outside with armed guards essentially around it. Tier 4 is one step down from that, and I think it goes all the way down to tier 1, which might even just be a server inside a corrugated shed. I'm not sure how that works, but the tier 5 is the highest grade, protected not only from the elements but also from natural disasters, so they're not built on a fault line. So they're going to be up and running. And so what we do is because we've got 2 tier 5 and a tier 4, we can provide a 100% uptime guarantee for our customers.
That's new. That's new. Nobody else does that.
Right. We are the only one that does have, and we haven't had to pay, but we will pay our customers if we do go down.
Yeah. So let me explain. I just want to, John, I know you want to jump in,
Sure.
but I want to say something really quick before I forget. The important thing to understand, everybody, is to understand that the phone system is not at your location. It's not. You just have devices answering calls. The phone system is sitting on the network at these protected data centers that have multiple power grids coming in, different internet feeds. They're so hardened that the chances of these things going down are slim to none. So, Amy, you're in Florida, right? Guess what? Hurricane comes through. Not that ever happens in Florida, but I know you guys had a big tropical storm just recently. Flooding happens, power goes out, your phone system goes down at the office, right? If you lose power and everything, you're going down at the office. But guess what? The phone system's not down. It's still answering calls. It's still sending calls to your cell phone. It's still taking voicemail. It is still up and running. Your customers have no clue maybe you're having a big problem at your office. So, John, I'll let you jump in there.
Yeah, I was just going to add to that. Evan talked about at the core. So what we do in the cloud to actually protect, so to make sure you have that level of reliability, and that active is a real thing. I mean, it's if there's any issue, it's immediate migration of traffic to the next site. But then at your location is, and as you said, Evan, how about you've got you got a power outage, you've got a flood, you've got some kind of local issue that is striking there. One thing with our platform is we give you the ability to have, if you've got our mobile client on your mobile devices, if you've got internet access through a web browser or other ways, and power is out at the site, you'll still get all your calls. If you can have pre-established routing between your locations for numbers and have call overflow between locations. So I think companies often think first about, the cloud and how reliable is that. But if you look at where most of the issues happen, they're in the last mile, so to speak, or at the local office level. And part of what we do with the VIP platform is we build in for you the pre-planned redundancies on the local end, so that way you can still connect and communicate with your customers no matter what the issue is at hand. And I think that's important, and that's why we are for our vertical having an SLA, I said, that has no nines in it. the 100% uptime guarantee. That's something that is unique because we just believe so much that these are mission critical communications for our customers, and we're committed to making sure they're always on and always available.
Yeah, so I want to talk about that for a minute, the whole nines thing. It's a joke because people don't understand. They don't take the time to understand what it means. If you look at most VoIP companies, and I know them all, most of them are offering 3 nines, which is 99.9% uptime. Now, doesn't that sound wonderful? 99.9. Wow. Well, I just drove through Vegas. Let me give you an example of what 99.9 really means. You see these slot machines that say we have a 99.9% payout. So everyone thinks, wow, I have good odds. No, you don't. Because what it means is that they keep 99.9% of your dollar, every dollar you put in. And they only give you that little sliver back. Now, in this world, what 99.9, I think, I'd have to go back and do my math, but I think it means it allows them to have up to a week of downtime a year. I'll get those stats for you. I just can't do it in my head. But think about that. What business can afford a week of downtime a year? Really? No way. Not even fathomable. So, having 100% uptime guarantee is truly unique and truly different. Let's talk about tip number 3, which is, man, this is a hot button. I think we saw what happened 2 years ago. I was actually in Europe when COVID hit, and we were on a trip trying to go to certain countries. We ended up not going to any of those countries because literally as we got there, country after country was closing down ahead of us. It was like, do you guys remember the Indiana Jones movie? When Indiana Jones is running through the cave and that big boulder, poof, and it's rolling after him. That was like COVID with our family in Europe. And it was awful, but the world has fundamentally changed. I mean, I did a poll on LinkedIn the other day, and it's really a hot poll because I just asked a simple question. Where are you more effective, working from home or working from the office? And I think 65% of the people said working from home. Blew me away. I didn't think it would be that high. I'm an office guy. I think you build better culture in office. That's just me. But 65% said working from home. And this is where, again, the world has fundamentally changed. Let's talk about enabling work from home.
Yeah, Evan, you live it every day, so why don't you go first?
I do. I work from home every day, unless I'm on the road meeting with customers and partners. So it allows me to work from my hotel room. It allows me to work from my home office here, downstairs, upstairs, wherever it's quietest sometimes. On the road too, I can take my business calls on my cell phone with my app. It's just that easy. And it also allows you to, like, the administrator doesn't have to be in the office as well. So if there's changes that need to be made for routing calls, or someone goes on vacation, they forgot to turn off their voicemail, it can be done remotely from anywhere in the world. John, you want to expand on that?
Yeah, and that's what I would, looking at the 3 of us today, I think on this webinar, I'm the only one that's in a traditional office. And actually, I'm not in my primary office because I'm in our La Jolla office in California today. So here for our webinar audience, I'll see if we get a new one there.
Oh my gosh, give me a break.
You can see across from me. That's why I'm facing that direction. But I think the key is, you do those surveys, Ira, and I think for a lot of people, it's going to be a mix of office and a mix of remote, and certain number of days. We have some groups that are in the office like 3 days a week and others that are out of it. The big thing for me is I really have come to the realization that I think most of the time when you have a meeting that has like 5 people in it, a part of you might be together, but somebody's not going to be in the room with you. So enabling work from anywhere is being able to give you the tools so that you can still build culture and consistency and interaction. When we're in a video collaboration session and you can, see facial cues and body language from people as opposed to just a phone conversation, and be able to share documents, take notes, write up things. And we do that in our platform with our collaboration tools, to where we actually have a concept where you can have meeting rooms, virtual meeting rooms, that if I've got a group that meets every week and you establish a meeting room for them, all of the notes, documentation, things you shared from the prior sessions are there in that room or in that workspace for you when the group returns to it. So I think enabling work from anywhere is that helping companies to blend the in-office experience with out-of-office experience, and then letting people choose to consume how they interact with that technology on basically the device of their choice, right? Whether it's traditional phones, whether it's a webinar or video, what do people prefer to, what's your preferred first go-to when you need to outreach to a colleague? I saw a survey that was published just recently, had to do with asking, kind of like your LinkedIn poll on where do you want to work. This was, how do you choose to first reach out to a coworker or peer if you need to get information from them? Well, it was like, I think it was 38% went to IM or instant messaging or chat first before they would interact with somebody. So, built into our platform as part of what we do with our next gen phone system is you can have a chat with somebody. And then if that chat, sometimes you get the sense of like texting, where you're not quite connecting. Maybe we need to actually graduate this to a real-time conversation, or maybe we need to graduate it to a video where we're actually talking to each other because we're really not on the same page. So besides being able to give you the tools to pull in the remote workers that aren't in the room, it's giving people the media or the methodology that they can communicate to somebody through either the room concept we talked about for video meetings, all the way down to instant messaging if that's more efficient. And so it's a matter of giving each employee in the organization the tools they need to have their go-to and what they would prefer to use when they're reaching out to their coworkers. And then if we need to escalate that or do something different, making that just as easy as possible to do it.
Yeah, one of the things I noticed about the platform that I really liked is that you guys have the ability, obviously, like most companies, to have impromptu collaboration rooms or scheduled collaboration rooms, which is great. The difference is a lot of these other companies are just using other people's software, and a lot of times those deals get screwed up. I'm not going to name the name, but a very, very big provider had a deal with a collaboration company, and that fell apart. After everyone got used to it, and it fell apart. And then this company said, sorry, big company, you can't use our product anymore. And then, they're left scrambling. You guys have developed your own. And one of the unique things I think that's different, and that I know is different actually, is not only do you include the webinar side of things, but you can get, in a collaboration side of it, you also have the ability for people to have a webinar piece of this, which I did not know, and which is really cool. And I'm going to have to evaluate it now to see, can it replace what I'm using here? But I thought that was pretty cool as a sort of a new, unique offering, because I don't see others offering that out there. And I think it holds up to 1,000 people or something like that.
Yeah, you can get a few hundred. You can have up to 6 presenters. You can, share slides and have a webinar capability and get several hundred people to attend. And that's what we do. That's packaged into, again, not really pitching our platform, but just for education. It's packaged into our elite user seat. So everybody who has that tier of service has the ability to have impromptu meetings, video meetings, schedule meetings, has the ability to have the rooms concept I talked about, which I love that because I use it all the time. And then to be able, because a lot of people have training, education, or larger group meetings where you don't, just like in this webinar, you don't want necessarily everybody having an open mic because people sometimes struggle with controlling their settings. So the ability for anybody with that to have, conduct webinars and do training and education, we use it all the time. We did a session yesterday with our partners, and that's just the tool that we use for webinars, but it's in the bundle. So it's in the package. So like what I'm talking about is for $5 a month more, so to speak, you get all that. And it's not the webinar capabilities like $60 with a lot of vendors. Or, if you're using, like, a lot of people like Microsoft Teams for video meetings because it's on everybody's desktop. Well, you can integrate with Teams and use that for your meeting collaboration tool with our platform as well for just a few dollars a month. So the key is just how does the tool help you face the work reality that when you get to larger groups, not everybody's going to be in the same room at the same time, and you need the ability to have people join a meeting, participate, and feel like they're at the table with everybody else.
Yeah, absolutely. That's great. Let's talk about number 4, happy customers. We all know, like, a happy customer means everything. A mad customer, what do they say? I think an unhappy customer will tell 10 people about their experience, and a happy customer will, tell 1 or 2. So
right.
You have much more downside on an unhappy customer. So let's talk about how to support your customers better.
Yeah. So one of the things that I think is important is the ability to take those work groups that are focused on really being the tip of the spear for helping your customers or supporting customers, and giving them the tools that they need to be able to interact and support your customers. And a lot of times people think of that being the phone system, but it's the phone system plus, and I think we may cover this in another How to Win, but it is also the phone system plus grabbing data and being able to look at information that's in your other applications that you have. Like you may have a Zendesk support team or a CRM that's targeted to your vertical or something like that. So just keep that kind of top of mind for a topic we'll talk about in a bit. But being able to get people, when people interact with your company, they might just be calling for information, or they might be having a problem or an issue, or, you might be calling out to them to see how satisfied. So putting the right information in front of the right people is part of what integrations do. And then managing those calls effectively, or those interactions effectively. We used to think of that 800 number as being the primary way that people reached out to brands or companies to deal with them. But now, they're on social media. They want to text you. They want to go to chat on your website. They want to do a lot of things. So they call that customer journey. However, the customer journey software, how are they getting to you? And being able to take those interactions, kind of amalgamate them, get them to the right representatives to help your customers, either through skills-based routing or other things that are probably past the level we want to get into on today's webinar. So I get to the right expert at the right time, and then give those employees who are the frontline tip of the spear interacting with your customers the ability to, when something isn't within their area of expertise, hand that interaction off to somebody who might be in a billing group or a materials movement or inventory group or a sales department or other place within the company. So that's part of what we kind of focus on, is how do you really get the concentration of the tools and information to the people who are driving the front end of customer interaction, and then how do you enable them to be able to ask for an expert or throw a lifeline to somebody to help them if it's something that's outside of their expertise. And again, give them the tools in a way to where even those employees can be remote workers who are logged in from a home office or another location, and they have access to all the data that they need to support customers.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me give you guys a little story. Yeah, because I always like stories, especially they're always my awful stories. But so I'm a big Marriott guy, right? I'm actually, my status with Marriott is called ambassador. It's top of the food chain. You can't get a higher status. I have my own people at Marriott that handle all my stuff for me, have my own personal people. So I get here to this beautiful property in Tahoe. Like, it's beautiful. Like, the rooms are insane. The hotel's beautiful. And this was my experience. I pull up with the car, and it's $32 a day to park. I'm like, okay, that seems kind of expensive, but whatever, whatever. I'll do it. So I give the guy my keys, and he says, no problem. Watch your cell phone. You're going to get a text here in a moment that, when you want to pick up your car. So I said, okay, cool. So I leave, I go check in, go up to the room, spend 2 hours up in the room. I don't even think about the text until it's time to leave. And I go to my phone, and guess what? There's no text. I'm like, son of a gun. So I get downstairs, and then I got to go through this whole process of, I don't know, it should have been sent. I'm like, don't tell me it should have been sent. I don't care if it should have been sent. Here's my phone, and you see it's not here. So you either A, your system doesn't work, or B, you put in the wrong phone number, which either way, it's fine. Let's just get it fixed so I get the text. He says, no problem. He goes, let me go get your car. I said, okay. Gets my car. I get the text finally after a second opportunity, which is great. So now it works. I get up to my room this morning, and all I want to do is ask for 1 hour later checkout. So instead of running downstairs, I pick up, the phone over here right behind me. I dial 0, and I get this awful IVR system. And the lady's like, just tell me what you can help me with, what I can help you with. And I said, I'd like a late checkout. She goes, I don't understand you. I'm like, okay, I don't know how to say that any different. So I said, I need a late checkout. And she goes, oh, no problem. So she got it the second time. But then I couldn't, it's it, not she, right. It. And it got it the second time. And it says, hey, listen, why don't I send you a text message with the phone number you need to text to talk to somebody who has who can give you a late checkout. I'm like, what? You have to text me a number so I can text that number so I can get to somebody who could help me with a late checkout. And she said, and then it says, or just say you want to be connected and I'll connect you to somebody. So I said, I want to be connected. Excuse me? I don't understand you. I'm like, I am not speaking another language here. I don't have marbles in my mouth. Like, I'm speaking very clearly. And I said it like 10 times. And then finally, it understood. Wow. That was a horrible experience from the customer side. Like, it's just annoying, right? So we want to make sure that you want to support your customers better. And the way you support them better is by having systems that actually work. I think that's the key. And
you hit on 2 or 3 tools, Evan. I don't know if you want to talk about some of the upgrades to our contact center capabilities, but 2 or 3 things that we do that kind of enable that, Ira. So you want to point out a couple of those, Evan?
Go ahead, John.
Okay, I put you on the spot. Sorry. Yeah. So, a couple things. We all hate sitting in queue a long time. So we have the ability to do callback in queue when somebody dials in, which just means it's just like Southwest Airlines say, we're busy. Somebody will be with you in 45 minutes. If you want, we can call you back at that point in time. And we make that as capability that's an easy add-on for people. Another is this IVR interactive voice response that you talked about, Ira. So the ability to have the system speak to you, you speak back to it, and have it understand natural language communications. Most of those, I'm surprised that you had that. Surprised, not surprised. Most of those are pretty good today. It's kind of like the quality that you mentioned of our greetings, where you can have a greeting that you just type in and it's stated for you, to where you can type simple questions. And then the third thing is skills-based routing. If you've got a customer that's getting distressed, you need to get them to the right expert. So all 3 of those things within our next-gen cloud platform, plus a few more just for time we won't get into, are things that really have even small companies. You don't have to be Marriott. You can be Marriott, right? It can be a 5-person organization, but you can still have the tools to be competing against companies that are much larger than you.
Yeah, that's the point I wanted to make here. I'm glad you did it. Is that no matter what the size of your business is, if you're a 2-person operation or a 1-person show, guess what? For a very inexpensive price, you could have a system that's better than freaking Marriott. Right. Because Marriott, I'm sure, spent a lot of money on this and it didn't work. Take that to the bank. So let's talk about number 5. You talked about this a little earlier, John, about how to leverage business intelligence. This is a favorite topic of mine. I'd love to hear what you have to say about it.
Yeah. So here, Evan, I'll make up to you. You do the talk about what we do with integrations real quick, or just the general concept of integrations.
Yeah, sure. We can integrate the phone system with over 350 different business softwares out there. So you can get screen pops when someone calls in. You can do a click to call on a basic integration. Then we have enhanced integrations, which are a little bit more in depth and require a little bit more work on both our sides, but we can really integrate the phones into the business or the communications, I should say. It's not just the phones, it's the soft phones, the apps, and really integrate the communication system into business applications.
Yeah. So if you think about it, the phone system or your communications platform, I say it's not the custodian of records for your business. Everybody today, you may have software that you use for customer support, or a CRM for sales, or an ERP. So what we do is we know the data about your customers and your organization live in those applications. So we make it real easy in your Chrome browser to do a simple integration to about 60 different applications. If you're using those and you want a simple, so you can have you get an inbound caller ID, it pulls up customer records, your agents or your employees can see them, or you want to be able to automatically dial out. In many cases, have it log the call in a CRM. And then, as Evan talked about, there's a lot of niche vertical applications. If you're in veterinary, or if you're in a healthcare, or if you're in a car dealer, or of cleaners. I mean, there's applications for organizations I have known nothing about, that I've never heard of before, that we can actually integrate into them and pull the data out of that to just up the game with your customer intelligence. So just think your business intelligence, all the records, all the information you have on your customers, it doesn't live in your communications platform. How easily can you get it to those employees when they are communicating to your customers, and how can you make that frictionless? That's what this concept's about.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I think it's important because a lot of businesses don't think about this. You need to be able to, again, part of the customer journey. If I call into Marriott or Joe's Tire Shop, they should just be able to answer the call and instantly know who I am. They should know what I've bought from them before. Have I had issues with them before?
Right.
So it's syncing in with your, Zendesk or Salesforce.com, or, fill in the blank of whatever CRM you're using. But think about that experience from a customer perspective. I call into a tire shop. They have 3 phones in there. As soon as the person answers the phone, they say, "Oh, hey, Ira. Hey, nice to hear from you again. What can I do for you? Oh, yeah, I saw you got rear tires here, 6 months ago. It must be time for front tires or whatever, right?"
Right.
But that whole business intelligence side of things is very underestimated, and I think it's important businesses start thinking about it. If we're partners, if we have customers who need systems like this, we should be asking those questions of, what systems do you use, and how important would it be to sync in with them?
Yeah, and Ira, real quick, on last thing on this point, you mentioned Salesforce.com because they're who everybody thinks of when they think of CRM. Most people don't realize in that market, the SaaS CRM platform, they're the biggest, but they only have 20% market share. So one of the things that's really important is there's all these little slivers of vertical applications that people use. So with the enhanced integrations that Evan talked about, we can put a small downloadable on somebody's computer and be able to integrate into a lot of those, you might be the second or third market share in a specific vertical, kind of a niche application, but we many times can integrate with those as well to get the data. So it's just important for partners and customers to know that, you don't have to be, everybody integrates into the biggest brands or the biggest names out there. What do you do to get to the ones that are really specialized for that vertical or that industry?
Absolutely. And last one, and that I want to go through, and it's an important one. It's so important. I called it a bonus number 5. It's not that I just forgot to put number 6 in. it's a bonus number 5, but it's about future-proofing your business and having no headaches. So let's talk about that.
Yeah. So Evan, you want to take that one first?
Yeah, we touched on it. Part of it is a little bit earlier with the upgrades that we do to our platform that our customers get to take advantage of. It's just oftentimes these are suggestions from our customers that they would like to see maybe a star code to do a specific activity, or some sort of a enhancement to the chat maybe. But these are all done for free. You don't have to buy a new voicemail box to go in the closet, or buy new phones that work with the new PBX. This is just all future proofing. You buy the Crescendo system once, and everything comes with it down the road.
Yeah, and so let's give an example of that. In my role, I'm seeing our roadmap for what we're going to do 6 months, 9 months, or a year from now. We talked, Ira, about giving the big business tools to the small businesses. We have a small business bot, basically SMS, artificial intelligence type of bot that will be suited when people think of AI and some of these new capabilities. They think of the biggest companies being able to do that. But we have that capability coming in the next few months for small businesses. So if you're a pool service and you have the common questions people ask you, but then sometimes they need to be able to do what you did, which is talk to an expert when you were trying to book your late checkout, actually talk to a human, they can escalate out of that. So a lot of the key is a lot of these capabilities as they come on, a bunch of them get just bundled into software releases, so customers get them at no additional charge. But then if there are really new capabilities like AI and bots, it's an easy upgrade to add it to their system, and it gives you the capability to have this evolve. As I've been doing this a long time. I have no idea what's going to be available 2 years from now or 3 years from now from just a communications capability. But the point is, we have a lot of smart people in our organization and others that it's their job to be able to predict those things and to bring those capabilities to our customers as they kind of reach critical mass and a level of reliability that's important. And that's something that with any next generation communication system you get. Some vendors, we tend to live a lot in the small to medium size arena, where up to a lot of our customers, the solutions we deliver are the lifeblood of what they do. So we're really committed to making sure that we deliver on things that have real tangible value for our customers. Oop, we lost your audio.
I was muted. Yeah, sorry. I think one of the things I think people need to really just think about is you want to be future proof. You want to know that as you grow, new feature sets are being added consistently. So what you buy today is not going to be the same as what it is in 2 years. It's going to be enhanced. It's going to be better. There are going to be new features. There are going to be new things that you can do that you couldn't do today, because the system has the flexibility to change with the times and to future proof your business. Isn't that what everyone wants? You don't want to have to go scrap something 2 years from now, right? You want to be able
100%.
Yeah, you just want to be able to do it. So with that, I know we got about maybe 2 minutes left, but what I wanted to say to everybody is, listen, I put a thing up on your screen to book a demo. So if you want a demo with me, I can do a demo of the Crescendo platform for you. Or if you're a partner looking for somebody who can help you grow your business, we can talk about that. But you can use the book a demo link. We would be very happy to show you the Crescendo platform, because it is, I consider it to be, if not one of the best on the market. It's fantastic. And with that, Evan and John, I want to thank you so much for spending some time today. You guys have any parting thoughts?
I just feel you mentioned, and I don't, this was more about what we do as opposed to about our company. But one of the things that folks are interested, when you talk about what customers think, Ira, that's really important to me. Third-party software review site g2.com. Right now, we are the #1 rated high performer for VoIP providers for our vertical by real customers. So real customer reviews. And to me, at the end of the day, we can talk tech all we want, but what happens, or what does it feel like when a customer has your solution? So that's something we didn't talk about in the session that I'm extremely proud of, and I'd offer for people to go validate that themselves.
Excellent, excellent. Well, guys, thank you so much for attending today. Thanks for sharing your knowledge, and it was fantastic. A lot of great information. Again, everyone, if you want to book a demo, you can click the book a demo link. If you want to call me or email me, phone number and email address are on the screen. With that, we'll let everyone go, and you guys have a great day. Bye.